we believe that nobody's going to pay you for a work that AI is already doing. We believe that we have to teach the real value that only humans can bring, like critical thinking, imagination, creativity, and innovation. And during this scaling moment, we also were part of accelerator programs like the Mind CAT. That is just an EdTech program that also helps a lot to design everything and to grow our company.
Welcome to EdTech Insiders, the top podcast covering the education technology industry. From funding rounds to impact to AI developments across early childhood, K-12, higher ed, and work, you'll find it all here at EdTech Insiders.
Remember to subscribe to the pod, check out our newsletter, and also our event calendar. And to go deeper, check out EdTech Insiders Plus, where you can get premium content, access to our WhatsApp channel, early access to events, and back channel insights from Alex and Ben. Hope you enjoyed today's pod.
Welcome to EdTech Insiders. We have an amazing guest for our interview today. We're talking to Mireia Torello. She's the CEO and co-founder of Aikreate, an EdTech company that's revolutionizing AI literacy for students and educators worldwide. She has a PhD in Earth Sciences and an Executive MBA from the IESE Business School, and Mireia brings a unique mix of scientific and entrepreneurial experience. She has led Aikreate through partnerships with schools, universities, and governments, and has been recognized at top innovation forums like South by Southwest EDU and ASU+GSV's Women AI. That's where we first met, at ASU+GSV. Her mission is to make AI accessible, ethical, and empowering for the next generation. Mireia Torello, welcome to EdTech Insiders.
Thank you, Alex. I really appreciate to have this opportunity to be together with you. So I would like to thank you for that. I'm really excited.
Yeah, no, it's really my pleasure. I think you're doing something really interesting, and you've been doing it for quite a while, actually. You've been thinking about AI literacy for a few years. Tell us about how you think about this concept of AI literacy. I know you've mentioned that you want it to be a mindset, not just a skill set, not just a tool set, but a mindset. What does that mean to you?
Yeah, so our journey at Aikreate, like the founders of Aikreate, we start teaching AI literacy 10 years ago. We own a family-founded school in Barcelona. And 10 years ago, we thought what skills our kids need for their future. And then we decided to integrate AI literacy into the curriculum. We started from a humanistic point of view. And then we built up the whole curriculum because at that time was nothing available. And yeah, we believe that teaching AI literacy as a mindset means that we go beyond just learning AI tools or coding. We focus on how to think critically, ask the right questions, and make intentional decisions when working with AI. And we believe that it's about helping students understand not just what AI does, but how it shapes their lives, their decisions, and even their identities.
Yeah, their decisions and their identities. I mean, you mentioned in the beginning of that 10 years ago. I think for people listening, they may say, wait a second, you were doing AI literacy 10 years ago. It feels like, so much has changed in that time, and you've been at the forefront of it. You've been doing this and thinking about it clearly in a very deep way for many years. So tell us about this moment when ChatGPT came out, became the fastest growing technology tool in history, and suddenly AI went from something that I imagine 5 or 6 years ago, you probably had to explain what AI was, what AI literacy even was, to being something absolutely everybody is thinking about. And, suddenly you were right in the middle of the zeitgeist.
Yeah, so when we started, we had to explain, the parents of the school, why we were teaching AI literacy, and parents were they didn't understood, right?
Yeah.
Why we thought it was so important. But then when generative AI, the boom of generative AI came, parents, they start understanding, why teaching AI literacy was so important. And we also explained, to our parents that we were worried about the interaction with our kids with social media platforms, right?
Yes.
The kids they don't understand, like how social media, how algorithms work, how social media work. So we thought if we explain our kids, how AI is built behind the scenes, then they have the freedom and they have the choose to use it or not. Because when you explain to a kid that why most apps are free, they don't even understand that they are the data, right? So when it's good that they are aware of, like understand how AI works and how affect their daily life as a for work and for personal use, or for like college or school and personal use.
Yeah, I mean, it makes a lot of sense, and I think that those ideas, as we've sort of started to enter this AI era in earnest now, the idea that AI is going to shape their lives and identities, like social media shaped their lives and identities for better or worse, is becoming. It probably is something that is becoming much more of a commonsensical. People are like, yeah, we see that coming. It's true. AI really is going to shape students' identities and students' lives, and understanding when to use it, how to use it, what to be skeptical of, what to be excited about, and how it works behind the scenes is incredibly powerful. So, you started within this school, and now you are working with governments, you're working with educational institutions, you're working with businesses. How did you make the transition from a sort of local curriculum to an AI literacy platform that you actually share globally and have created a company around?
Yeah, so we started 3 years ago when we set up the company here in US. And then we decided to work with educators and educational institutions around the world
Yep.
to make like scalable and affordable curriculum for educational institutions. And we did that because we thought that if we had like strong partners, that we could do pilots and they could test our product and then give us feedback, then we could have like a synchronized, like EdTech platform where users could feel comfortable and they could learn.
Yep.
And yeah, and also like we believe that like to mention that like our mission and vision, was that not only like explain kids how to use like AI, but also to teach them how to collaborate with AI. Because we are not preparing them just to use tools. We're preparing them to solve problems and create value in way that machines can. Because we believe that nobody's going to pay you for a work that AI is already doing, and we believe that we have to teach, like everybody, like the real value that only humans can bring, like critical thinking, imagination, creativity, and innovation. And during this like scaling moment, we also were part of accelerator programs like the Mind CAT.
Yep.
Know that they is just an EdTech program that also like helps a lot to design everything and to grow our company.
So let's talk about that idea, that sort of collaborative idea, because that feels like incredibly powerful and also really core to what you're getting at about, students in their future. AI is going to be a major part of their lives and identities. We are all under the, understanding that some parts of every job are going to become automated. I think it's starting to feel like that's just inevitable. Some parts of jobs will be AI created or AI automated. But that collaborative nature of solving problems, I love the way you said that, solving problems in collaboration with AI really feels like, the skill of the future. And writ large, you can obviously apply that to many industries. You can apply it to many different types of problems, many different types of work. But the idea of working with AI as a, people call it a co-pilot or an assistant, just feels absolutely core. I'm curious how you address that in your curriculum. How do you help students start to understand the world will look like when they have this incredibly powerful assistant that can have complementary skills? The human brings the imagination and the creativity, critical thinking. The AI can build the deep research. It can create content very quickly. It can write enormous amounts. How do you think about that in the curricular environment?
Yeah, we believe that educators are more important than ever right now. Like we believe that AI is really good delivering information, but to create the knowledge, you need the educators, right? So we believe that they are really important. And then also like we also believe that so AI is not like AI literacy. It's not a separate subject. And for instance, like when we work with the schools, like we believe that AI it's interdisciplinary. So for instance, in language arts, we might analyze how chatbots influence discourse, or in history, like students could explore how algorithms shape narratives and bias. Bias is a really good topic, to introduce
Yeah.
to kids in AI. And in math, we solve, like, for instance, predictive systems or probability through machine learning, which is also like very important.
Wow.
And yeah, I believe that so understanding like AI as a multidisciplinary subject, it helps to understand like how everything is connected, and it affects, as you said, like all the economies and sectors and every field of science. So yeah, so I think that this because of that, AI pushes us to be more creative than ever.
Yeah.
And yeah,
No, keep going, please.
yeah. So AI shouldn't be in a silo. So schools shouldn't be like, oh, okay, let's make AI literacy in a silo. So we believe that when it's across a curriculum, it's empower kids to see the world and their role in it, and in a more connected, innovative, and responsible way.
That's a really beautiful vision. I really love that. And yeah, I want to talk about the how that the rubber meets the road when you're proposing something like that, because I love the idea of AI being interdisciplinary, being able to use it within math, within science, within English language arts. But a lot of schools and a lot of educators, that's not yet how they see it, right? I mean, especially the concept of AI literacy. You mentioned, AI literacy shouldn't be a subject, but in many cases, that is how it's sort of being looked at. There's this concept of, oh, let's give our students an AI literacy course, an AI literacy module, an AI literacy training, and they don't necessarily see it as, no, let's see how they use AI in the context of all of their existing subjects. How do you think that we might, as a EdTech ecosystem, help not only push AI education and AI literacy into schools, but really help people get that really powerful notion that AI is interdisciplinary. It's part of any field, that it should actually be incorporated into the core curriculum. That's a big ask, especially for American schools, but it's a big ask. But I'm curious how you propose that, and how it works with AI Create worldwide.
Yeah. So what we encourage, it's like we believe that educators are the key piece, like in like making this transition. So we believe that educators need to be trained, and the key is making AI approachable.
Yep.
Like many teachers fear AI because they believe that they need to be like technical experts,
Right.
but they don't. So what they need, we believe that it's the right support and tools and a safe space to learn alongside with their students. So we offer at iCreate, we offer like synchronized and asynchronized like professional development. So
Yep.
educators can build like confidence to their own pace. And we focus on ethical conversations and also in practical classrooms integrations, not just theory. So teachers feel that empowered and not intimidated. And as I said before, like in this AI, because AI is transforming everything, like educators, as I said, they are more important than ever. We believe that teachers are the ones that who can guide like young people in developing their skills that they truly need, and especially like critical thinking, collaboration, empathy, and adaptability. And we do that through our platform. We offer like this, as I said, this multidisciplinary curriculum. Like we touch five areas. Like we explain like ethics, like helping students like think critically about being responsible, inclusion and impact. We also teach data science. So, what is, we explore data, what is data, it's a good data, it's bad data, what is bias, and also evidence-based decision making. We also teach AI engineering, like understanding how models are built and how they work. We also teach math, so building the foundations for algorithms and problem solving, and coding. That we do coding, but from a very friendly block programming. We teach like Python, but we're starting with blocks. It's very friendly, and then the more advanced the kids, they can just code in Python. So we have created the tools as well. So we have the curriculum and the tools to facilitate that during the classrooms.
So I wanted to double click on what you're saying about the educators learning alongside the students, because I think we're in this really unusual moment. You mentioned that educators are intimidated. Excuse me. Educators may be intimidated by AI because they think it's very technical, and it doesn't have to be. But at the same time, it is pretty clear that most educators are at the same level as their students, or maybe one or two steps ahead. I'm curious about how that you're talking about sort of synchronized professional development. I really like that phrase. Tell us about what this looks like, because I feel like that's part of what makes this such a confusing moment, I think, for educators, is that they don't know whether they're being expected or asked to like jump into this subject and learn a huge amount about it so that they can be ahead of their kids and create new projects and create new curricula that incorporates AI, or whether they're being expected to almost protect their classroom against AI because the kids are using it all the time and they're not sure how to incorporate it. It's sort of an odd moment for educators, I think, in relationship to AI. And I think your vision of synchronized professional development, where sort of everybody's learning together in these types of subjects you just mentioned, AI engineering and coding and math and data science, it's an exciting vision. If you're an educator right now and you wanted to, sorry, let me phrase this a little differently. So how would you help, a school build this synchronized type of learning where the educators and the students are both learning this really new material?
Yeah, so we have a platform that we offer like synchronized like training for teachers, and then either the teachers can decide to deliver the lessons themselves, which we encourage that. What we want is like to train the educators, and then educators like to feel confident and to have the training, and then they can deliver the lesson themselves. But we can also deliver the lessons. We offer both, but we believe that you don't need, like as I said, a strong technical background. What you need to understand is how generative AI works. How it's built, how to like write a good prompt, right? Or what is prompt engineering, right? And also, what you need also to understand is what is data decision making. Data decision making. I'm sorry. I'm gonna repeat that.
Okay.
And also what do you also need to understand is what is data driven decision making,
Yep.
which means that at the end the AI is built with data, and like how algorithms work, and it's something that anyone can understand. And we are teaching kids with no coding background how to create their own AI models. So educators, we can do the same. Like we can explain them the basics, understanding what is AI, so they can bring AI into the classrooms. And also, I believe that this is a personal opinion, but I believe that we cannot hide a new technology from kids. I believe that we have to explain kids what is AI, because and then from there kids can use it on their favor, because at the end, as I said before, like critical thinking, innovation and imagination are more important than ever. And then if you understand how AI works, you can use it in your favor, right? You can use your critical thinking and problem solving skills and then turn it in a tool to help you. That this is what I believe at the end AI is, a tool to help you in your everyday, like professional or personal, or for the school, for the school day life. And I believe that that students, like I heard from students that they use like AI for like entering the notes that they take into the classrooms and convert these notes into podcasts. So
Yep.
they they are able to better understand, the concepts in that classrooms. If these students they understand how AI models are built, they can take more profit, and they can work with that tools more efficiently and being more productive and not being afraid of AI. We don't have to be afraid of generative AI. We have to understand how it works, and then the same, like we have to understand what is bias, right? Because all the large language models that we are using has bias. So we need to explain the kids the benefits of AI, but also to be aware of of what how you say that, what inconvenience it can bring to you. So I believe that it's more important than ever than to train educators and middle and high school students, like to use AI in their favor.
It makes sense. When you mentioned that idea that you'd be able to train, high school students who are non-technical to be able to train their own AI models. I mean, that's a powerful, claim, and that's a powerful thing to be able to let people do. One thing that I notice as sort of a through line of a lot of the things you're saying is that it's really about empowering both educators and especially young people and students to really embrace these tools, embrace this AI mindset, and not be, like you said, don't be afraid of it, and leap into it and sort of bring your full imagination and creativity to it. And I think that's an exciting vision for how this would work. It's one that I think we're all grappling with. I tend to agree with you. I think this is unbelievable. The idea that these tools can literally make almost anything you can conceive much more possible, if not even easy. That is just an absolutely crazy thing that we've never had before with technology. I mean, I think you could claim that being able to make your own website had some element of that, or make your own mobile app, but this, you can do it in plain English without any coding skills, or with minimal coding skills. It's really quite incredible. I'm curious how you see this concept of what you see the role of AI create in sort of pushing this philosophy of empowering students to embrace this AI mindset and create, just really sort of race into the future. Because there's been polls coming out where parents are increasingly concerned about AI, teachers are increasingly concerned about AI. There's actually been more, because there's been so much negative press. People worry about the effects of AI. You mentioned hallucinations and bias and ethical issues, but I think they're sort of taking the headlines, and some of the excitement, in my experience, some of the excitement and the power, the empowerment narrative is sort of getting subsumed. So I'd love to hear you talk about how you make sure that all the schools and businesses and educational institutions you work with, you sort of keep that really optimistic, future focus, like, look at the amazing things that we can do now and that you can do even as a 14-year-old. Tell us about how you keep the optimism and that sense of empowerment.
Yeah, of course. So what we so we have designed it, like we always, like, we encourage like schools to talk to parents. Look,
Yeah.
so when schools integrate AI literacy into their curriculum, we encourage the school to talk to parents, and like mention that, like the future workforce, it's changing,
Yeah.
and like everybody will need like AI literacy, or
Yes.
at least to work with AI tools. So if kids like mention that they understand how AI is built, that means that they can work in the future with any AI tool because they
Yes.
understand the fundamentals. That means that when they go to a job interview, they have more chances to get the job because AI is replacing these first jobs that students were able to get. And also, like, so from our curriculum, like we have designed specific tools, like kid-friendly and educator tools, to jump from one step to another, like
Mm-hmm.
safely. So they don't start using like generative AI like crazy, right? So there is an introduction course where they can understand, how AI is built. We go very deep in ethics, so the kids understand, like the goods and the bads of AI.
Yeah.
So that's something that we really like. As I said before, we started our project from a humanistic point of view,
Yeah.
so we follow the same philosophy. And then like as I said, like then we integrate all the subjects when it's time to
Right.
be integrated. So I mean, as I said, we are very careful in not to empower kids to use tools that they are not ready.
Mm.
So we are not going to encourage them to work with AI tools until they really understand, what is the benefit and what is the risk, right? So that's something that we do. And then, as I said, like we encourage critical thinking, problem solving, and imagination, because it's something that sooner or later they will face. I think that a lot of kids are using AI for their personal life,
Yes.
even though they are not using it because maybe in a school it's not allowed. But
Right.
then we are in the same question, right? I think it's even more dangerous because these kids, are they using it without, don't even understand how it works? And we always ask to our kids, like, do you say good morning to your microwave? No, you don't. So why you say good morning to ChatGPT, or why you
Yeah.
say please, right? So
Yeah.
kids need to understand that it's a computer program, right? And it's something that, because generative AI, it feels like you are talking to another human, and maybe you
Right.
have an app that behaves like if it's your friend. You think that you are talking to a friend when you are not. You are talking to a computer program. So we believe that even that, because if school is not teaching that part, because it's not possible at that moment, kids need need to understand what is AI, and in order to be safe, and also like not to use it, for bad purposes, like generative AI. It's so easy, to change pictures, to, I don't know, to fake, to fake things, that it's good for them to understand, the consequences, and also like what is right and what is wrong. So that's something that we are teaching, and I believe that, as educators as well, they don't need to be afraid, because at the end, when once they have the training, they are in control. So they are giving, for instance, our tools. Kids cannot, I mean, we have our fine-tuned LLM, right, with our whole curriculum inside. So it's a frame, right? They cannot talk about anything outside
Right.
our AI literacy curriculum. So we have the tools like for the educators, and we also have, our app, like it's a self-learning app, but we have the whole curriculum that we talk about in AI literacy. And as I said, I think that we empower educators to feel safe and to feel under control when they are like delivering the lessons. And as I said, even if the schools are not, if the kids are not getting this training from schools or after schools programs, they need to have it, because we cannot hide AI anymore. Like, and all the kids, even like, are being exposed as well, like the recommendation, like for instance, when they are watching Netflix, why Netflix is showing you recommendations.
Right.
Kids should understand why, or in YouTube, right, or TikTok or whatever. Like they need to understand how these algorithms work, and in order to be free. Because if
Mm.
if Netflix is giving you a recommendation, then you are avoiding, thousands of other choices that you could have, and you need to be free to understand, why this is happening, and then to be. I believe that training on AI literacy make kids more free.
Mm. Yeah, that's a powerful perspective. One thing that you brought up a couple times that it always sticks with me is that we're coming, just in the history of technology, we are now coming off of a era. We're sort of coming to the end of an era which was all about social media. It was sort of the main technology for teenagers. It was ways that young people were exposed to each other, to a huge amount of content, to different types of lifestyles and mindsets, and I think there's starting to become somewhat of a consensus that social media has been not maybe net negative for young people. Lots of anxiety and depression, and has caused lots of problems. And something we mention on the podcast a lot, and certainly a belief of mine, is that framework of, oh, social media came along, we thought it was harmless or positive, and then it turned out to be something we really didn't really want for our young people. I think that's really having a lot of effect on how people think about AI. I feel like there's a lot of concern that it's this new type of technology. It's ubiquitous. Kids are using it, as you said, all the time. They're using it for social purposes, as you mentioned, for AI friends and companions. And I think it's triggering a lot of things in parents and educators saying, we don't want to get fooled again. We don't want to embrace this technology thinking it's going to be something that is positive. And then in 10 years, we realize it caused a huge wave of depression or suicides, bullying, all of some of the negative things we've seen from social media. And I'm curious how you see that. I'm curious if you see that in your current customers or in their conversations. How do you see the parallel between social media, which I feel like is sort of the tech era that's now sort of starting to end, and this AI era, which is starting to begin? How should we think about them next to each other in terms of their effects on children and young people?
Yeah. So when we start our project in our school like 10 years ago, we started, one of the main reasons that we started, because we saw the problem of social media dependency of our students.
Right.
And then especially for girls, in social media. And then we thought, like, if we explain like how this platform works, like at that time it was Instagram, right?
Yes.
So if we explain like how Instagram work, they and we also combine this with Socratic dialogues, so
Yeah.
they could express themselves how they were feeling, with the interaction of social media. And then when we were explaining them that an algorithm was positioning their post and how this was affecting their feelings, these kids, we saw like they changed the prisma on how they were seeing like social media platforms, and some kids also decided to quit these social platforms. And this is how we start. This was of one of the main, we were very worried about our kids, right? This was one of the main reasons. But now, like when we are teaching, we explain like how AI model works. We explain the kids the AI pipeline, so they can build their own AI models and their own AI projects, understanding like how algorithms work. So, for
Yeah.
instance, we had like students that they were like using, so they were building projects based on personal interests, right? And they were understanding like where to collect the data,
Mm-hmm.
what is data privacy, what, like they were playing with data sets. Is this a good data set? Is it a bad data set? This data set has bias. So that's something that at the end, they were also integrating like what kind of model I can use, what kind of algorithms I can use. So it's something that when they can play the AI pipeline in their favor, so
Mm-hmm.
they can integrate like, for instance, like we had one kid that who create a solution to support learners with dyslexia.
And together we're working on Valia, your AI-powered HR assistant. But before we start, I want you guys to imagine something. Imagine you're a small business owner, and what does every small business or successful business need? No. The main thing is workers. But hiring nowadays is really flawed. Because small HR companies, they like manual resume screening requires time and resources, and it may miss some top candidates. And also, HR teams are unable to track productivity due to insufficient data.
Some of our solutions to this problem that Avelia brings is we will shortlist the top candidates and provide a list for the business owners to look at and see who's going to be on the resumes or who's going to be their future employees. Real-time productivity tracking using KPI of the employees so they won't burn out or if somebody's working too hard or too little. Benchmarking data for reasons for the top candidates, and AI recommendations on what the AI would do or who's the best or who's the worst.
According to SBA, there are 33.3 million small businesses in USA in 2024. They are going to require our services because it will save time and resources. It will also trace the performances of every worker in the company and then also identify top talent for companies to hire. Our AI pipeline consists of 5 steps. First of all is collecting data. As we launch, we're going to be collecting data from public services such as GitHub, Kaggle, and other services. And as we expand, we're going to be contracting partnerships with different companies for them to provide us their resumes and databases. After that, we'll be using LLMs to sort out any sensitive data, and we'll be training supervised models, regression and classification to rank candidates from best to last, and also labeling them as fit for the job and not fit. We'll be testing the model, checking for bias, and then deploying.
So from an ethical standpoint, our company is going to be clean. It's going to be transparent with the employee and the employer.
And he was able to create the whole pipeline, like where I'm going to collect the data, how I'm going to work this data, how I'm going to train the model, and like what algorithm I'm going to use. And we also, he combined 2 things. So he understood the AI pipeline, but also at the same time, what stood out was his empathy and desire to improve the learning experience for other kids like him, because he had a problem with, as a kid, he had a problem with dyslexia. So he thought how I can help future learners. So we believe that if we turn around, if we can explain, the behind the scenes, how AI works, the kids, they stop thinking that AI is magical. I think that, that's the problem with kids. They think that AI, it's magic, and it's not. At the end, it's that data plus algorithms plus a probability. And when you are able to demystify, this concept of AI being magic and explain each concept, and when kids are able to integrate each of these concepts to their projects, and then they are able to present these projects or even to create a prototype, right? That's something that it's very powerful. And the feedback that we had from our students, it's that they thought when they were starting our training or our courses, they thought that AI was magical. And at the end of the program, they were really proud of what they built. And, we also explain them, they also have to think, for instance, when they build their models, where are they going to get the data, right? And then that's something that, it can become you think about data privacy, or who are your users and how you're going to get the data, right? And they can also connect that in the apps that they are using, right? So it's a full exercise that once you do it and you learn it, you can associate in every like area in on your life that you are using AI.
It's such an interesting perspective, because I feel like what I'm hearing you say in lots of contexts is that the that understanding how the systems work from the inside really sets kids, as you say, it sets them free, and it empowers them. It gives them the opportunity to use these systems in their favor. So if they learn that the Netflix recommender is doing a certain thing, they can decide how to react to that, or whether to agree with it or ignore it. If they understand that Instagram or YouTube are doing certain things to push them in certain directions because of their algorithms, the algorithms underneath them, they can decide whether, how to react to that, or how to game the algorithms, or how to get on top of it. And then AI, you come to this modern era and say, AI, if you understand these systems, you understand the data, you understand the algorithmic thinking and how all the pieces fit together, not only can you not be fooled by it and not think it's magic, right? But also you can actually use it. You get this enormous, suit of, robot power suit where you could do all, that's how I picture it. You could do all of these things, create videos here, create apps there, do something for solve problems like dyslexia, maybe address climate change issues, like some of the things that maybe seemed really intractable. Suddenly you have this incredible set of powers to do that. And you have the power to be free of some of the commercial applications that may be sort of trying to convince you that it's magic, or convince you that your AI girlfriend is real. Those are important things to avoid in this modern age. That's a really powerful technique. And I've heard you say that you feel like students should really be the pilots of their experience, not the passengers. I'd love to hear you expound on that, because it feels like this is all part of your overall philosophy. It's a really important one, I think, right now.
Yeah. So we believe that like students, like if we like empower students and we like teach them like to be AI literate, they can like be pilots in this new AI era instead of being passive passengers and using like other AI tools that someone else built.
Right.
And on top of that, ethically and responsibly, we want to create like ethical leaders, right? That's something that we also like are very concerned about.
Every year, 1.3 billion tons of food is being dumped in landfills. That's around $1 trillion annually. I'm the founder of Smart Bites, a solution to this growing problem. When food gets dumped in landfills, it creates a harmful gas called methane. Methane traps heat in the planet and increases the effects of global warming. Our app uses AI and takes user input and ingredients and generates recipes based on those ingredients. This reduces food waste because instead of throwing out the excess ingredients, you can incorporate them into new recipes. Our target age group are college students who just moved out of their houses and are in desperate need of both nutritious and easy to make recipes. The first step of our AI integration is data collection. Our data collection will occur in the form of recipes. We'll be taking recipes from publicly available data sets online, such as food.com. Next, we have data processing. During this stage, one crucial bias that we avoid is selection bias. This selection bias occurs when the data being inputted into the AI model is unrepresentative of the world population, causing skewed and biased results. In order to combat this bias, we will be incorporating recipes that are from a variety of cultures, each proportionate to the population. Next is model selection and training. We will be using cluster and generative AI as our machine learning models. We'll be using unsupervised training, and we'll cluster together recipes that have similar ingredients and use those clusters to generate recipes using generative AI. Finally, for our model deployment, we will be deploying the product in the form of an app that users can download on their phones. And it will be using data-driven decision-making through prescriptive analytics, in which it will take in data, which are the ingredients, and generate recipes, which is the action. Here is an example of someone using our product. As you can see, you can easily add in the ingredients, and you can even add an expiration date for each one. Once you add it, at the top, it'll say how many are about to expire and approximately how much money you save. When you scroll down, you can choose a certain culture and you can generate the recipe. At the bottom, it'll show your environmental impact. From our competition analysis chart, we can see that SmartBites is the only app out of all of our direct competitors that has all of these incredibly useful features. Our indirect competitors include e-commerce apps such as HelloFresh and meal planning apps such as Mealime. But even then, we hold a sustainable advantage because we're the only ones with all of these features. Next is our business model. Our business model is business to consumer because we want to partner with the larger food companies such as Whole Foods, and our distribution strategy is installing these advertisements in carts, which will lead to our product. We want to do this because we want to increase demand for our product. For pricing, our product will be available to download and use for free, but there's a premium version which you can access for $1.99 a month, and it'll include exclusive features such as collaborative grocery tracking lists, and you can also have bonus content. Our team members consist of CEO, CTO, business strategist, marketing lead, and UX designer. All of these roles are incredibly vital to the success of our company. Overall, SmartBites makes it easier for households to plan their meals, and it's also very good for the planet because it's sustainable. Our unique features give us an advantage over all of our competitors, and our ask from our investors are connections because we want to network and we want to grow the demand for our products before we go to market.
So let's talk about the ethics for a second, because this is something that I wrestle with a little bit in that let's just, I promised the last question about social media, but I do find it an interesting parallel. But if you understand, if you're a 16-year-old who gets really powerful lessons about how Instagram's algorithms work or how YouTube's algorithms work, there's a couple of ways you can approach that information, right? One is, hey, they're trying to feed me extremist information, or they're trying to keep me in a filter bubble, and I'm going to avoid it. I'm going to start 3 different accounts that are different, or I'm going to turn the whole thing off altogether because it's trying to manipulate me. Or you could say, hey, you know what? I'm going to become an Instagram influencer. I figured the algorithms work. I'm going to get 1 million followers by doing all the things that get me noticed on Instagram. And I feel like the same logic is potentially true with AI, right? Knowing how to use the tools, knowing how to scrape data, knowing how to build your own models, knowing how to build your own applications, it's powerful, and that power can be used in ethical or unethical ways. So I know that ethics is absolutely core. It's the first thing you named as the core of what Aikreate does. But I'm curious how you're sort of approaching this tricky question of giving students these incredible powers, and at the same time making sure that they don't go, oh, wait a second, I can do this thing. Maybe I'll do it for nefarious purposes, because it really is enormously possible.
Yeah, that's something that so it's something that we make sure that we explain kids what is data privacy, and how you can be affected if you use AI negatively. And it's something that we run in our curriculum, because, as I said, we don't want bad use of AI. And as you said, it can be very easy once you know how to use it. But I believe that it's even worse. I mean, I believe that the consequences are much stronger if you don't understand AI than if you do. And if you do, and you use it in a wrong way, sooner or later you are gonna find the consequences.
Yes.
So it's something that we encourage kids always to use AI ethically, and we always ask them, how you would feel, right, or how you feel, if someone is using AI in a not ethical way. We cannot control outside our classrooms, how students use AI. That's something that I don't have control. But I believe that for if you have the knowledge, and if you have a vision and a mission, that's something that is related to your heart, you can easily achieve it today, with AI. And that's what we want to empower, like for every kid. And then we teach ethics. And of course, at the end, it's every student's choice how to use AI. But you can even, like, if you don't get the training, you can even learn how to use AI by yourself,
Mhm.
and then use it wrongly. And I mean, what I'm trying to say that kids anyway can get, information and can use AI in the wrong way, right?
Yep.
But if you have AI literacy, and if you understand the consequences of
Yes.
not using AI correctly, then this is a moral question, right? That is
Yeah.
something that every kid and should like think about. But our mission and vision is to make sure that kids understand, the right and the wrong use of AI.
Yeah. So it makes me think, a couple of months ago, I spoke to a consultant who focuses on AI deepfakes and helping schools figuring out how to respond to them. And it stuck with me because it's just such a intense, scary sort of section of the AI world. But what I'm hearing you say is that, you mentioned earlier that kids can learn about AI in school, or they can learn about it from sort of commercial apps, right? I mean, because it's true, they are already using it in all these different ways. And if you go to the App Store right now and search for AI, image creation, you're going to find a huge variety of different things, some of which are literally designed for some pretty strange purposes. And they're
Mm.
commercial and they look legitimate. They're made by real companies. They have logos. So what I'm hearing you say is that if you're in school and you're learning AI literacy and you're learning what image generation or manipulation looks like in AI, how it works, the diffusion models, all of that stuff, and at the same time you're learning that there are these use cases that are so out of bounds that they can literally have legal, major legal consequences. You can, learning that at the same time feels very powerful, because it's like this is knowing what's possible, and then also at simultaneously learning what's both morally and legally problematic. Um, adds so much context to what a student is actually doing, rather than sort of students stumbling on this stuff on their own and having no context for what it's doing, why it's doing it, how it's doing it, and whether to do it or not. Putting all the pieces together and understanding how these systems work and when and how to use them ethically and safely. Is that, I know I'm putting words in your mouth a little bit, but like, is that sort of how you see it? That
Yeah,
sort of
yeah,
simultaneously they're learning the systems and the ethics.
yes. And on top of that, I would say that if a kid come across one of these tools, and have and can go to their educator and
Right.
ask about, listen, I found this tool, but I don't know, I don't feel confident. And they have the freedom and they have someone that they can go and talk about it.
It's a
I
great
think
point.
it's much safer than just, avoid AI literacy.
Right, right. Safer than than a school saying anything that happens outside the walls is not our business, and this stuff is not in our purview. We teach English and math. We don't think about this kind of thing. It feels like a problem to avoidance of responsibility for these incredibly powerful tools that kids now have access to all the time.
Yeah, and also if the school, have like AI policy, if a kid, it's being, I don't know, like a fake image, like if a kid gets involved, as a victim, it can get support, like as well, and from the educator as well, and from the school, and I think that AI is super fast, is evolving like super fast, and unfortunately educators haven't had time, to follow the path, because it has been like an explosion, right? And
Yes.
I think now it's the correct time, like for educators and for the schools, to start learning, how to implement this, how to like incorporate AI literacy into the school, into the classrooms. So when kids in the future, they come across different new AI tools, they have like someone that they can go and talk about it, how they feel, and safety and privacy concerns. And that's something that I don't think today they have this figure, but I would love for all the kids, to have this figure, and then to have someone that they can go and ask when they have a doubt.
Yeah. So one thing I want to ask you about, you're based in Boston, is that right?
Yes,
Aikreate?
yes,
Yeah.
yes.
So as you know, you've been doing this for many years. You've been doing AI literacy since before people knew what AI literacy was. And as you now are expanded, you're expanded in different parts of the U.S. You've been expanding internationally and different types of organizations. I'm curious if there's a sort of a profile of a type of organization or a type of person within an organization that is the sort of really the advocate for AI literacy. Are there, are private schools moving faster or slower than public schools? Are countries in Europe or countries in South America moving faster or slower than the US? I'm curious just how you see the landscape for AI literacy and who's sort of on the forefront of it.
Yeah, we are seeing like private schools moving faster than the public system, but it's something that I believe that it's going to change. I believe that there is a lot of anger, from like the public system to integrate, this AI literacy.
Yep.
And also, like in Latin America, we had like a good like we are growing like fast as well.
Yeah.
Like I believe that they are like private schools. By the moment, they are like very concerned, and how to integrate like this privacy and safety like frameworks for around AI for their students. And also like with the government in Panama, like we have been working, and as well like we are expanding into like Asia, which like in China AI literacy now it's mandatory.
Right.
And yeah, yeah. And in Europe, yes, in Europe we are working in Spain, because
Yeah.
our platform is available in Spanish, in English, and we are starting in Hebrew as well.
In
And
what language? Do you say in
Hebrew,
Hindi?
Hebrew,
In
in
Hebrew?
Hebrew. Yeah, yeah,
Oh, fantastic. Yeah. So for Israel,
yes,
yes.
yeah. So that's something that, yeah. But I believe that that I that like the landscape is changing, and the public system, it's something that it's I'm sure that they're gonna like be integrated like quite sooner.
Yeah. When I hear you say that, people are very concerned about the privacy and safety piece, it makes me realize there's an interesting sort of move here. And I'm curious, I'd love to hear you react to this. It feels like schools could come to AI literacy for the rear guard action, right? For the safety, right? They say we need our students to be using this stuff ethically, to not be doing deepfakes, to not be scamming people, to not be falling for scams, to not be cheating on tests, right? I mean, they're worried about all of these different AI use cases. Maybe AI literacy comes into schools as a safety precaution, but then especially with a tool like Aikreate or a platform like Aikreate, you're all about empowerment, systemic thinking, critical thinking, imagination, creativity, problem solving, collaboration. Now, I wonder if that's a sort of pattern you think is going to happen there, where especially for public schools, but for any kind of school where AI literacy is brought in quickly as a sort of defense mechanism against AI, but then once it's there, it actually is empowering and creates all these amazing, students are turning their notes into podcasts and training their own models and doing these amazing projects. Is that a pattern you have seen personally or that you expect to see?
So I heard that like some private schools, they talk about the parents are very concerned about the privacy, and the misuse of AI of their kids. So one of the reasons that they brought AI literacy, it was because to protect kids, right? In
Right.
to frame the kids, in a context that they are safe. But at the same time, these kids, we are also training them to use AI in their favor. but because we
Right.
had this framework, right? So they can like schools can feel safer because it's something that more and more, as I said before, like AI is growing like super fast, and then we can some schools like principals and teachers are feeling that their students are not safe anymore. So that's one of the reasons that they brought us into the school. But we are not stopping teaching our kids, to use it as well in their favor.
Right.
So we are doing both.
Right. So it's my co-host Ben always talks about abstinence education never works. It's like it's not about stopping kids from using AI. It's about giving them the tool set and the AI mindset to actually understand AI and use it in their favor and not fall for anything and not use it in unethical ways, but actually know how it works and be able to do amazing things with it. I mean, that's a pretty powerful vision, and it feels like a little bit of jujitsu almost, right? It's like a school or a state or a country says, "Oh, we're worried about AI," and you say, "Well, we're going to come in and make everybody love AI, and use it in all these amazing ways."
Yeah, yeah, and it's working. Like schools are happy, kids are learning, and kids, if you ask a kid that if do you want to learn about what is AI and how to build with AI, they say yes.
Yeah, I
And
bet they do.
yeah, and they are ready, and they are fully involved in learning, and they go fast. And it's something that I think it's amazing. And as I said before, when they show up in a job interview or when they show up into college applications, that's something that some students ask us for, like recommendation letters or like certificates, and then when they demonstrate that they are able to use AI into their favor, ethically, of course, always when I'm talking about this, I'm always saying, ethically, and so then as a responsible leader, then they have a better opportunity for them, like to get into the college, to get into the first jobs, and of course to be protected, from others like apps or other tools that outside of that they can use in their personal life, because they understand how these AI tools work.
It's a really exciting vision. So very last question, just, in the last 2 years, I think we've seen an explosion of sort of the concept of AI literacy, and a lot of different people have put together different frameworks. You have ones coming from a number of different nonprofits. I'm curious how you see that landscape evolving, especially as you have different models. So, you have your 5 classes with ethics and AI engineering and coding. Others have different types of structures. How do you see the AI literacy space evolving over the next year? Do you think people are going to sort of combine, or will one paradigm or one framework sort of become the dominant one in any particular region or country? How do you think this is all going to work together? I think right now it seems like a little Wild West.
Yeah, I agree with you. Like you see, like a lot of resources, but I think that most of resources, at least that I have come across, they are not very like educator friendly, right?
Right.
Like, the educators need to invest a lot of time, to understand, what is a lesson or what they have to deliver. So I believe that I hope, that educators in the future can like come across, tools that help them, because in our case, we combine, the training with our tools. So it's something that is easier for the educators to have everything in one spot. But
Yep.
I believe that in the future, educators are I hope, go across more resources that are more like friendly for them, for integrate into the classrooms. And yeah, I believe that that more and more resources are gonna be available. But of course, I will always encourage, to use resources that are teacher friendly, right? So if you want to develop something, talk to teachers, make sure that teachers are comfortable and that they can adopt it easily, because otherwise, it's very hard for them to invest the time and resources to understand this tool and then to change to another tool, because today you come across different tools for different purposes. And I hope that in the future, we can find all, the tools in that help educators for the delivering the lesson.
Yeah, educator first, right? Think about the delivery and the educator first when you're thinking about a framework or any kind of AI literacy, project. You don't want it to come completely top down or from a research organization and not have a way to be incorporated into the classroom. I think that's a very, very solid principle to follow. Mireia Torello is the CEO and co-founder of Aikreate. That's Aikreate with a K. So AIKREATE, an EdTech company revolutionizing AI literacy for students and educators worldwide. Thank you so much for being here with us on EdTech Insiders.
Thank you, Alex. It has been a pleasure, and I would really thank you so much for this opportunity. Thank you so much.
Thanks for listening to this episode of EdTech Insiders. If you like the podcast, remember to rate it and share it with others in the EdTech community. For those who want even more EdTech Insider, subscribe to the free EdTech Insiders newsletter on Substack.